Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, greetings and salutations, and welcome to another edition of Women of BSV with the beautiful Robin over in the States. And we are joined by Neil Collins, who is the CEO and founder of Breaking Hits, which is basically an opinions platform connecting artists and industry with their fans. So this sounds fascinating. And Robin, do you want to actually give us a little story about how you two met first, and then we can go from there?
Sure. So I did. I went out to LA for NFT Week LA, and then I went to Miami NFT Week, and then I went to New York City NFT Week. And Neil was one of the more interesting people I met in LA, and I pleasantly ran into him again in New York. And then after running into him at the events, then I ran into him at the breakfast buffet at my hotel the next morning, and we sat and we geeked out for hours. And I was super excited about what his company's working on and some of the ideas and the way that they're utilizing blockchain and what it means for the consumers, like for the individuals. And so we invited Neil onto the show to share that with an audience, with the general public. So Neil, tell us a little bit about yourself.
So I've been working in technology since 2002 for corporate entertainment, and as the web evolved, I've started to see the needs evolve, and so I've worked with marketing, social media marketing, and album releases and business development for emerging and commercial artists. And the one thing that we found was the connection to consumer was always the focus. And over time, we started to see how the internet connected people, then later how social media connected people. But the later was when I started working with labels that were using social media data to make decisions, but then at the same time they were using entertainment and social data to make business decisions. So I started to notice a problem, and the problem was that the people's opinions were being measured by what they were engaging in socially. And so we were working with an artist, and we finished a song for a label, an album, and we had to make a decision on which song they were going to promote, and everybody had a different opinion on which was going to be the best song. So I said, "Hey guys, do you have something that could survey the people's opinion on the song, not the artist's social media, not their numbers, but the actual, like, they like something or they don't?" And I go, just like a focus group, just like an auditorium test. We're like, "Oh, we don't do that. We just kind of take the song that we see that trend on social media." I go, "Yeah, but that's not really the measure." And I go, "Let me call the radio stations and record labels and see what they use." So I called the different record labels and radio stations, and literally I got everything from email call outs to intern call outs to well, we all go in a room and we kind of pick it. And I was like, well, how about we include the fans? Let's see what they really think. So we prototyped a platform that we were using for a back office application for NBC Universal, which was for film rating for their diversity initiatives. I said, let me make something. And so the platform was built as a prototype for film for music rating. So we shared it with the fans, and surprisingly, it was a different song, and that everybody thought that was going to be the song, and that's where that light bulb came. I was like, we got to start including the people in the decision making, but not what we think they think, but what they actually think, and ask them. And then over time, I also worked with a lot of other different artists and projects. I worked with Howie Mandel from America's Got Talent. I was watching the phenomenon of people taking part in voting on who's the winner. And so then I said, but this was like a little bit early where people weren't as social and wasn't as active with voicing their opinion on social media. So there'll be a time where everybody will be able to have a voice, and then also brands and artists and creators will have more support through community. And so over time, it started to all come together where people were more social, people were more active, people were creating more, and they needed that support. And then come along blockchain, where I'm like, well, we got to be able to validate this support. We need to be able to track this support. And then we have to be able to reward this support. And so Bring Kids is a combination of a data platform that's going to be able to measure feedback, but then at the same time also be able to validate, record, and track and reward users for support. Where now both sides are now going to be motivated to create and support, because now both sides are accounted for and included in the journey and the process.
Very cool.
Yeah.
And how long have you been around now?
So we've been piloting it now for about a year and a half for the public market, where we've been building up the independent market and influencers. But the first 2 years, it was only for record labels. And so we had a lot of great success with the record labels, where we're like, the people need this, and all artists should have this. So now collectively, we're about 3 years now in development. And so this year is where we're going to start focusing on the public market and also the integration of blockchain and ledgers.
Okay, so you started off with music, and now you're doing several channels or several different outlets. What all are you encompassing now?
Currently, we're focused on music. We will be focused on music for at least the next 6 months before we evolve into video content and being able to test and share creative content that video creators are making. And the goal is to later be able to have it go from music to video to fashion to art to anything consumable. We're basically a release platform for all product that needs to connect with their fans faster to be successful. And on the other side, because we have the recognition and rewards component to it, is that the people will come on board and will start to be able to really create true what we call hitfluencers, people who actually discover, support, and get behind product, and be able to be recognized for that. So the music side will be the focus for the next 6 months or so, but it will evolve into all consumable product.
Okay, so talk to us about the rewards and the interactive aspects of this.
Yeah, so different than social media, where the rewards are like how many followers you have, how many likes, and how many views. We try to focus on all the types of support that a person can provide that could be valuable to a brand. And so it actually stemmed from me watching my wife play Words with Friends. And I kept going to her. I was like, what are you doing? And she's like, I'm playing Words with Friends. And I go, well, let me try it. She goes, well, no, don't play on my account because of my stats. I go, what stats?
No, that's not my stats.
She was showing me her stats, her word count, her this, her that. And that's when I was like, that's what we need for support. I'm like, why is there so much technology doing so well, whether it's TikTok or Words with Friends, and they're being able to build so much engagement, so much activity for the platform, but then yet artists and brands are still looking for that support, that they're building so much engagement on a platform, but yet they're still not getting the support they need. So I said, we should build a platform that tracks all that. So we built a platform that has tokens and points. One is for digital rewards that are for in-app, and then one for tokens that you could actually get physical goods, merch, tickets to shows, this and that. And so what happens is the user is being recognized and rewarded for two types of activity: stuff they engage in and activities that they bring awareness to. So when they give their opinions on music, comment on music, or they share music on their profile to be able to get seen by other people, they're tracked by that. And then the other is when people are, they bring awareness to an artist, where people are doing things, but that was because of you. So your influence and your activity is tracked all in its own categories, which will total up to usable in-app currencies that will be for either digital rewards or physical rewards. So the goal is to keep on coming up with different things that are valuable to artists and brands, but be able to give recognition to the users for that. So, for example, if I was to follow one of my favorite artists on Instagram and do everything they want me to do or would love for me to do, they wouldn't even know it. I wouldn't be able to even share to the public, like, hey, I rated this song 3 days before it came out, or when it came out, and then be able to be felt like, hey, when he's getting that Grammy Award, thank you to the fans, where I could say I was there early, but then it's only me saying I was there early. But the blockchain could actually show how early I was, and within the break hits that you were early supporter. And even if Ed Sheeran didn't say, hey, Neil, thank you, I have a card that'll probably be generated in the future that I'll be able to share. Raider number 432 on this date was Neil Collins for Ed Sheeran's This Song. So that's what I see that blockchain and traditional web can do when you merge it together, where you can get access to the masses and be able to utilize blockchain technologies for the things that the current technologies can do a little bit of, but not as well.
Right. And we talked about like really cool, fun things, like, to the point of what you're describing, where you're basically invisible, right? You might have been this diehard fan, and you might have been the first or been a loyal supporter, but you're invisible, right? Yeah. So when that artist goes and wins a major award or has a concert in your town, there could be reward systems, like you get a shout out, or you get a meet and greet, or you get backstage, or whatever that might be. But like really cool interactive things that you can track and you can reward through blockchain.
Yeah, and I'll share a little bit from the artist side. The artists actually care a lot about their fans, but the platforms and the tools out there now don't really allow them to really recognize them or even engage with them.
Identify,
as easily as you think, because they have so many. So we actually are coming up with tools that will help them still be an artist, but also recognize the right fans, where you'll be able to have by fan base and even by location leaderboards that show who your top fans are within a demographic or within the platform as a whole. So now actually fans have something to strive for, where they're like, hey, the more I support, my support at any level will be recognized. But if I do more of it, whether the artist had the time to do the work or not, Break-Ins will help them do the work for them so that they can still focus on being an artist.
And also it protects the fans against scammers.
Sure. 100%.
Interesting, right?
So that's one thing that happens massively on Instagram all the time, is you are literally approached by scammers pretending to be, I am the management of this artist, or I'm the man, or so what a great, if it's on blockchain, it's going to prevent all of that.
Yeah. And so that was, so over the years, and I've been working in the technology space for a long time, and even pre-web, I was in the connection to people space, where I was in telecommunication. When the cell phones first came out, I was in the industry of beepers and cell phones. And I loved seeing technology be able to connect people faster and make the world smaller. And so the same with web, and then social, and then mobile, and now blockchain. The evolution of all the technologies and be able to come together, to me, it's an exciting time, and at the same time for the people, and back to scammers and to the people, like the connection was a great thing, but now there should be more for the people, not even just the artists and the brands, but even the people themselves. And that's one thing that we strive to achieve, is where the consumers, the people, actually get more for their time and support and get recognized.
Yeah, which only makes them even more of a fan, because that interactive is what makes us addicted to things. Not just addicted, but engaged, right? Like the more engaged you are, the more you're going to go support that artist. You're going to go buy their stuff. You're going to go to their shows, right? All of that.
And it's an exciting time for the people too, and the artists, and especially the independent artists, is that we have a lot available to us to really make a difference. And the one thing though is, it's not one set strategy or one set way to make it. That's another thing exciting about blockchain and new technologies, is that collectively artists will be able to shape how their careers can stack up and add up to being something fruitful, because it's not just one way anymore. I actually believe that artists need a a lot of different ways to generate value, whether it's revenue or awareness or anything that helps build up their career, but it's not one set way. And I'm watching that with blockchain, where blockchain gives artists many different ways to generate revenues, whether it's through AR, through VR, through fractional ownership of something, and including the fans in the journey, through memberships, through all kinds of ways. And I'm talking to artists now, and we talk to hundreds of them about their journey and what's important to them. And you'll hear it's 5, 10, 20, maybe even 50 different things, but collectively they're able to create a career where in the past you're dependent on cassette sales or CD sales or record sales, and the label's doing it for you. So the one thing is, it is going to be hard to get all the pieces together, but if you work hard at it, you could put things together and really shape a career where in the past you're dependent on others, where that it's shifting. And another on the fan side, why fans are more valuable to be to reach and recognize is 82% of the music industry revenue. That's just the music industry, not considering all the other industries. 82% of the music revenue is coming from streaming. And if it comes from streaming comes from a person clicking a button, pressing play. And if you can get to that person faster and get their attention and take care of them, the revenue will either shift your way or revenue will grow. So I know that the future is the people. It's not that commercial advertising and the commercial marketing strategies. It's about people. And that's the one thing that excites me about blockchain, was even in the early years, was the community, the people. The people are so dedicated, so supportive. And one thing that I do love is that as the years are going by, the level of seriousness, expectation, the level of sophistication is growing, where now it's up to us to really keep up and deliver products that can make a difference.
And it's a shift it speaks a lot to the shift in the industry too, that the artists are now more empowered and they won't be so beholden to their record label, right? Yeah. Not only are they not dependent, but they're also not handcuffed as much as they have been in the past.
Yeah, 100%. And all of that all feeds into all that I've been watching and learning about the blockchain community is and it's evolving, but the way it's evolving and what's its premise and purpose, to me, it's positioned well for what the future holds,
So can we have a look at your platform? I'm just going to put it up on screen. Oh, yeah, she says.
Thank you.
So I love the colours. They're very WomenofBSV colours.
And it's got great UI. That was one of the things that spoke to me, the UI and the UX. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So do you want to,
I'll walk you through a quick. So our goal is to take the power of technology and social media where it can get to people quickly, local to global, but then make a difference and create value for brands. And so basically it's the UI is infinite scroll where people can discover quickly and then also filter into the different categories they like. And basically, they'll rate the music, and it'll only go to the artist, record label, or management. It'll only go to the brand. It doesn't get shared publicly, so it protects the people. Because the platform is really about true feedback, true support. You don't really want it. It's not about creating controversy or people's opinions being shared publicly for the purpose of getting the platform more engagement. So the people will rate the music, and then it's automatic. The points and tokens will be issued to the user, and they can go to the next song. The other functions that are important to artists that is available after the opinion, we call it inspired connections and actions through opinion. So once they rate the song, and after you're pretty much done, so it's really fast. You'll scroll, you'll rate. And then after that, the info will go to the artist, and then you'll get your recognition for supporting. There's also what's called the boost function, where it's a rocket ship. And the way we feel the best time to ask an artist to stream or check out everything else that I'm doing, you can stop right there at that rocket ship, is it'll open up to boost what we call support actions. And it could be streaming and playing your YouTube, buying tickets to the show, bringing you to their e-commerce site, or even their metaverse site, or wherever it might be. And we actually feel like we just modernized what always have worked, which is like either focus group, or if you got to Costco and you're like, hey, taste this, and you taste it and you're like, this tastes good, you'll likely either go to the aisles and buy it, or remember it for later and go, that tasted so well. Next time I come, I'll pick it up. So in that boost function, we actually have all the different support actions that a person can do that would support the artist. And we also track that, where it would also be on your profile, where it shows that you actually supported artists. So it's basically it's from delivery and discovery to opinions, and it's private opinions, and then to support or boost actions. And so it's pretty seamless. We look to make it be something where it's just as powerful of a platform as the traditional social media platforms, but for the purpose of helping and driving commerce for our creators.
Such a cool idea. It's so good that somebody out there is thinking about the artists, but actually the fans as well, and protecting the fans as well, you know. So making sure that they count, which they do, because actually without the fans you wouldn't be an artist, you know. So
did he tell Neil about your background, so why that's relevant to you or important to you?
Oh gosh, do I?
Not to put you on the spot, but to totally put you on the spot.
Okay. Oh gosh. Right. I started off as a child and I was acting, and then I was a child model, and then from being a model I went to be a sound and a lighting engineer in the theatre, and then I trained like everything backstage. So I was a sound engineer for a bit, professional sound and lighting engineer, and then I did show management, wardrobe and props and everything, and then production management, and then I've worked with a rapper. I went on tour to Dublin, to do a couple of festival things with a rapper. I've worked with a reggae band for about 5 years or so. I worked on a cruise ship as a production manager, which I absolutely adored, but I produce music. I'm not great. I play the saxophone. I'm not great there either, but I love sound, and I've got a PhD. I just did a doctorate in divinity, and it was actually based on sound and frequency. So my kind of obsessions were sound and light for a very, very, very long time. But I know a lot of artists, and my best friend is a musician. He was big in the 60s, knocked the Beatles off the #1 spot in Malaysia in the 60s. He's my best mate, you know. A ton of musicians. So I love music.
So this is a subject near and dear to her heart. I don't need to cut her off.
Thank you. Sorry. That's amazing.
Yeah. So so now I produce the Women of BSV, and I've got a job that's starting soon as well, so producing as well. So I love the theatre, and I've done acting since 1988 professionally. So there you go.
So again, a subject near and dear to your heart for sure, and I think that you, more than most people, can appreciate these types of technological evolutions and what it means for the artists and the consumers, right? Like, it's really changing the game.
Yeah, and as I said, the big thing for me is scamming. Just please stop pretending to be artists and scamming their fans. You know, it's like that's a massive issue, I feel, and for the fans and for the artists, you know, like they're not, you know, take for example Johnny Depp. Do you have any idea how many fake Johnny Depp accounts there are? It's just, you know, and I feel bad for him because he does
the pirate version alone.
How is he going to know to, you know? So this is one way of being able to just stop that, you know, and protect the fans' interest for once as well.
And I wonder what the monetary number on that is. Like these scammers, like how much money would be recovered from these fraudulent activities for the actual artists as you enable these types of. All right, Neil, what's the, well, first of all, how many different recording labels are you working with?
So we have about 37 major record labels and a good amount of independent record labels that are on the platform, and about 500 independent artists and creators. So the platform now has about 7,000 users, But the one thing exciting about the 7,000 users is the same thing as the opinions. We want quality opinions and true opinions. So same thing with our users. We have true industry professionals. We have true fans that are providing their feedback on music that want to support. And so the goal is not to be a platform that's gonna be the high volume numbers, but the quality numbers of people that could really make a difference and look to support. So as we evolve, I mean, we will be in the higher numbers, but we really focus on quality users. Our first base of users for the independent artists, what's exciting is that we actually started the first, say, 3,000, 4,000 people with industry professionals, whether they're radio station, actual on-air DJs, mix show DJs, producers, Grammy, because we wanted to get their feedback if this is useful. So we did outreach to all verified industry professionals. And so that's how we got all the record labels in, because they were like, wait, so you have all our reporting, industry professionals on the platform. Can we put our songs on there so we could really get what we call early market or pre-market insights, where it's pre rollout or deployment of budget. And like the technical term, like with record labels or independent artists, is we look to give you pre-market insights so that you can better make decisions where you spend your time and money. So when you use like Spotify feedback or social feedback or even YouTube plays, that's already after you did all your not all, but a good amount of your marketing, because you want to see those numbers come up. And those are just numbers, whether it's Nielsen, Mediabase, or any insights that are how your song will do. And so we focus on quality pre-market or early market feedback so that you can make better decisions on your time and money spent. So as for the platform wise, we focused on really good quality, what we call hitfluencers or tastemakers that would service the labels. And that's where later we're like, almost like blockchain, like everybody should have this. Everybody should be able to have this. Everybody should win. And so, so this year is where we're starting to focus on the people. But one thing of the people was, we don't want to just get a lot of just anybody people or people who are scammers or this or that or whichever. So, and that's where we're like, we need better technology to verify and validate people, and not only people, but their activity. And that's where blockchain came in, where every time we were looking for something, it pointed that way. Then when we were talking to record labels, hey, so what are you doing to really make sure that we're getting good insights? We're like, well, we do two-factor authentication, we do this, and they're like, and then once I said, well, we're going to incorporate blockchain, they're like, they even felt a confidence, a different level of confidence. So as it evolves and as we incorporate blockchain in different parts, I know that the user base will even feel more confident in using it, because now they'll feel their time and their energy is not only well spent, but also it is also recognized,
rewarded. Yeah, absolutely. I love it.
I noticed you've got an events page as well. So
I'd love to share about that. Yes. So we host, and it's something we did, especially in the early stages, to build community. We host what we call Bringing Digital Live. And so the other part of something that we're passionate about is real actions and real connections, where people can not just have a digital fan or be a digital supporter, but actually a person who takes action and actually shows up. And
to a show.
Yeah, physical. So we were doing it in New York. First we were doing it in New York. Then we started doing New York and LA. We're looking to do it in Miami. But the goal is to be able to use the platform and the community as a hub, where later artists, even community, can get together to network, support the artists, or even support the influencer community. and have these live events, because I have so many influencers and digital and artists that are on digital platforms, and they don't even know any of their fans. They have hundreds, millions of fans, and I'm like, well, how many have you seen? And they're like, well, actually, I don't get to see any of them because I'm always on the road. I was like, well, there should be times where people connect face to face, and so we host events. It's invite only. It's either within the app or within our network of members, where we curate a location, and they pop up in different cities and around different events, and then we have our artists and influencers get together for no intention other than sharing their gift and connecting with each other.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And
Super
our goal
fun.
here is that people that are on the platform, they'll have groups and be able to continue that nationally and globally, where they could be events where there'll be like a premise of like people getting together, people that showcase themselves. And that's why you'll see we pride ourselves in trying to get it to a location where people can talk, share music, and perform, and then even be able to get coverage on themselves, where we'll have media come in, shoot it, and then be able to promote themselves. And so we've had about at least a good dozen of them, and it's constantly gotten bigger and bigger, and now we're in talks with organizations hosting collaborative events where it's like X brand breaking hits, or a radio station breaking hits, and be able to, because we can get probably anywhere from 300 to 500 people together in a room within 48 hours notice, and people come because of that genuine connection. So those live events are tied into our bringing digital to live.
Yeah. I mean, and that's the thing about being a band, really. I mean, you play live. You that's where the beauty of being in a band is from. Is that feeling the music and feeling the atmosphere of people around you and everything. We go back to sort of originally how bands started off. The only way that you would get a fan base would be literally if you went out to pubs or clubs and you played in front of people. So, as you say, the opening and the way that the landscape has changed for musicians is incredible anyway.
So blockchain, what you're saying earlier, you're getting authentic reviews, right? You're getting real consumer insights, pre-marketing or whatever you termed it. But then they're verified reviews, like they're immutable on the blockchain. We know that Neil Collins has been identified and he's truly Neil Collins. And I like the aspect of the verified reviews, the authentic reviews, and then these events and then leaderboards and things like that. It also creates like a community within, other mutual fans and geographic regions. So I think it's interesting uses of blockchain. Yeah. We know several people using blockchain for some pretty cutting edge ways for the music industry specifically. Do you want to talk about any of those, like Real Smitty or Soundoshi or any of the apps that we're familiar with that might have smart integrations with a company like Breaking Hits?
Well, Soundoshi they've just launched, and I've not really spoke to Smitty, so I can't really say much there. But I was quite interested to know what blockchain you're actually using, because you've got NFTs here as well. So that's more about where I was interested. There's a gentleman called Shambu Spain who has a platform. The Soundoshi, there's there's loads of them, and I can't think of them off the top of my head. So it's
that's okay. I put you on the spot. But there's definitely some folks that I want to introduce.
Music art, Blaircast, Soundoshi,
Jamify.
Jamify. There's loads of them, and they're all using the BSV blockchain. So talk about these NFT drops. I know you mentioned it about rewards.
Yeah. So on the early stages, we were piloting using NFTs to align artists and fans or influencers, align them through NFTs. And the way we saw it was being able to give NFTs for a token of appreciation from the artist to the fans, whether it be the first 100 or the first 1,000, would get an NFT for providing their feedback and being an early supporter, right? And it's basically just the same as baseball cards back in the days, where you could get it for 10, 30 cents or whatever, and a piece of gum, and you get a bunch of cards. But then you love the artist, or you love the say the athlete, but at the same time you depend on the athlete to do well for that card to do well. So what we saw it was you get NFTs from artists, and now you're aligned, but people have the power to help an artist do well. So the artist does well and they work hard, but if the fans also work hard and do well at promoting the artist, their NFTs in hand will be of more value, just a value of just because, hey, this artist is blowing up and I have his NFT, I'm happy. Or it actually becomes of value like a baseball card, and then be able to join that effort. And so we see NFTs as a great way to align artists and fans and be part of each other's journey. But actually fans, especially influencers, influencers, industry professionals, they can really make a difference, as opposed to an athlete has to perform by themselves. And I see NFTs being able to bridge that journey and be able to get not even the support of one, but hundreds, thousands of people. But both sides will do well, you know. So that's that. This is a program that we're rolling out and keep on shaping as how we can create, because there's a lot of different talks of, okay, so after you have these NFTs, when they have their shows, this can be this, and that's that's what's exciting about this space, is that from its base you can do a whole lot. And so, but at this at this stage, that's what our goal with these NFTs was for a token of appreciation, and then also be able to align the fans with the journey, you know, mm-hmm. and motivate them to help make a difference, especially if they have, whether it's 100, family members and fans or friends and classmates that talk about what they're doing, to people that have hundreds, thousands, millions of following, and say, hey, I got this artist. And of course, it always starts with the music, but if they love the music and it sounds great, well, how much better would it be where you actually have something that attaches you and connects you to that artist and their journey, and then might be that extra something that motivates you to support or promote just a little bit more, you know.
So what's your future looking like then? I mean, we're expanding. We're going to be getting hundreds of millions of people on this platform and growing into having,
so
the biggest artists in the world on there, yeah?
So the goal is everything from, everything from all facets and all categories of the music industry, to later on being and be able to bridge and connect both sides there, but then go into other categories where it'd be film, fashion, art, which art would also incorporate NFTs, and then and other types of digital art too, and be able to bring in communities from those categories and then merge them together. And really, the end goal is to be a value platform that connects for all people, for all interests, and be that release platform for everything, so that they can get insights, and then the community can get recognition and rewards for that time and effort. And so at the end, we hope to be that platform that everybody's our friend, and we're able to create value to everybody for the purpose of connecting them. So even with the other platforms, where we also see having we actually have it already in development, where it'll be released probably within the next few weeks, where it's a network and resource center where artists can create an account, get their music on, get insights, but also be able to connect with resources like platforms or other artists that you were talking about that are doing things where through our matching engine, be able to show different things that would be ideal for them, of things that they're interested in. So if they'll tick off things that they're looking for, interested in, and the other side, they also tick off what's the best fit for them, and be a matching engine for opportunities and resources, or even collaboration. And we see AI and blockchain be able to do that because it'll validate that type of connection. So it's not just a platform and people saying these are good people, but they'll be validated resources, and then also through AI and machine learning that the matching engine will actually provide best fits. So those are some things that are in the future, and the goal is to really create value for creatives and community. Power of tech, where tech is building and growing so much, but at the same time, artists, creatives, and community needs more. But meanwhile, there's billion-dollar tech platforms, but everybody else is still lost. And so, be that platform that we can balance it out a little bit more. We want to grow and be great too as a platform, but at the same time, I feel we can spread it out a whole lot more.
Yeah. This is one of the things. Small steps leads to giant leaps.
And essentially all the value that you describe is coming down to the connections, right? It's all the connections, the connectivity, and feeling connected.
And so that's, so it's an exciting time. That's what we're looking to do. Like you said, though, baby steps, because my team will always look at me and be like, what next? And I'll be talking about like 10, 50 other things, and really only 2 or 3. And if anything, if we did all of that, it'd just be too much. But we're excited for the future, and we'll just keep on taking those baby steps, and eventually we'll get there.
Excellent. So how can people find you? I mean, I know we've got breaking hits here, but if like people want to help
breaking hits, and in all social breaking hits, you can find breaking hits. But myself, I'm on all platforms: Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram at Neil Collins 03. And so everybody could find me there, and I'm pretty easy to connect with. So for anybody who's doing great things out there, or anybody who's looking to make a difference, feel free to reach out. Neil Collins. Yeah.
Cool. So that's awesome. On all socials then, yeah?
Huh?
Is that on all socials? All of your socials?
Yeah. Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, pretty much everything. Yep.
Okay.
What's your, I'm going to put you on the spot, Neil. What's your favorite success story so far? Or what was like just one of the coolest things that you've witnessed through the advent of this system that you've created through Breaking Hits?
So there's an artist that was an early supporter. Her name is Brooklyn Queen. She's 17 years old. And she's probably performed at, if you go to the events page, probably 3 of our events, possibly even 4. But she performed live at 3 or 4 of our events, and I've seen her evolve where, and mind you, she was a powerhouse before she got into Breaking Hits, but she recently got signed through a major record label, and then also through, I think she's doing collaboration or doing something with CA, but basically she's on her way where she's doing big things, but she's also doing things with support of industry, but at the same time, I know that her team is still in the driver's seat. It's not like she just jumped into a machine and now she's just following what they're doing. I actually can see that they're building around her as opposed to building her around them. So
yeah,
to see what she has going. But as you know, for an artist that's doing big things at 17 years old, that's amazing. We're blessed to have had her perform and be at our event. She performed at South by Southwest. She performed at the W for Women in Music, I think. And then we had another event for pre-Grammy this year, and she performed there too. And then this news was probably only a few weeks old. So all of this has just been
so you got to see your vision actually come to life through this artist, right? Yeah. Through the life cycles, and she's just begun her journey too. So like you'll continue to see her success and her growth, and your vision of the platform and what it means for both the fans and the artists. So that's very cool.
If I could just share one more that comes to mind where it doesn't tie into like this grand success story of something commercial, but I actually have a doc that our team constantly shares where we list the stories that we hear are the things that first happened for an artist. Like an artist would share, this is the first time I performed on stage with you guys, or this is the first time I performed at South by Southwest, or this is the first time I collaborated with a Grammy-nominated producer that we connected here. So a lot of these first scenarios where it's not a grand story where you can Google it and it's something, those are really exciting. Just to hear that we made a difference, that is part of an artist's journey. Like those are some of those moments where I actually sit back and I'm at an event, I look and I go, wow, it's small. You're doing something, something.
Yeah.
It's something.
There's something very compelling about its authenticity, right? It's very genuine, and you get to see it real real time. All right. Anything else you'd like to share with us, or should we call it a wrap?
No. Well, one, I definitely love to keep in touch on all that your organization is doing, and see how we can do more things together. And let's circle back and do this again sometime.
Yeah, we'll do some events, and there's definitely so many very cutting edge ways that people are using blockchain for music that our peers and colleagues of ours. And I definitely will make some introductions and introduce some of these applications in case there's any interoperability that complements your platform and not just lights ideas in your head. So we'll do that as well.
Thank you for sharing your amazing platform with us as well, because and thank you for coming up with the idea for artists out there and for their fans as well. So, it takes great minds to be able to think of these things and put it together and then put it into action. So thanks for sharing that with us.
Thank you, Robin. Thank you, Diddy. I appreciate it.